Man, welcome back to the Cruise Dynasty Podcast, the number one podcast in the state of Georgia.
America.
In America. I really made that shit up, but it is the best podcast. Hey, man, I'll put me and Kraft up against any of these other podcasts out here. And, in fact, Kraft, I mean, I know I'm just rambling now. Got a few beers deep. You know how it is. You know how we roll. Almost next year, I was like this past year, I was invited to join a league with like some of these little Twitter analysis. Maybe some of these guys got podcasts. We try to do one where our podcast goes against these other podcasts and other analysts and stuff like that. We'll see what we can do, but had to pass this year. I couldn't make the draft, so I couldn't do it. I work nights, so.
We got to bring the fire when we do that shit, though. We got to hit, like, we just need to send in clips of all the stuff we were right about, you know? Just like Marquise Brown, Christian Kirk,
like that.
Top 10 wide receivers.
Yeah, Kraft. That's what I was going to say. I know in that last episode you were saying I was right about Christian Kirk. I'm going to put a little asterisk on it because I was right about Christian Kirk being good, but I did not think he was going to be top 12, top 10 good. That's crazy. I thought he was going to be like top 24, top 30. Top 12, right. Dude? That's crazy, man. But
you're right either way, though.
So, but, you know, we ain't going to be dishonest with the people. We ain't going to be like, oh, yeah. I mean, we'll be honest with you. We were right where we were wrong and stuff like that. Hey, we might need to do an episode where we was right and where we was wrong and stuff like that. So.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see
just
how
not
it goes.
On the gambling side of things.
Not on the man, I'm going to be real. Me and Phil have hit some weeks, and then me and Phil have straight took a dump some weeks. So it's like, but that's gambling, though, man. If you can get over 50%, you make money. That's all I know. It's hard to make money just straight gambling all the time. Yeah.
But it's incredibly hard. And I tell folks all the time, I said, man, listen to Phil on the podcast. You know, it takes him a minute to get to the, you know, he's just chill as hell. He's stress-free. You know how Phil is, the way he talks. But This man is gambling. He's really a fantasy genius.
Yeah.
I really listen to Phil, and I go with what he says because I feel like he's right.
Yeah, we definitely got a squad. We got a squad here at the Cruise Dynasty Podcast. Me and the Kraft man, we bring on Dunk, we bring on Ian, the poor man P. Miller. He ain't as poor as y'all think as he tries to act, man. Don't let him put on a little front. he ain't as poor as old poor man Matt Hamm over here. I'm the poor man. but yeah, man. Shoot, man. Add the podcast. 5-star review, man. I'm gonna start putting a focus on these 5-star reviews because we started off hot. Now we slowing down. I need some more. Need some 5-star reviews. I don't know about Spotify because I don't check Spotify, but we're on any platform except for like iHeartRadio right now, and I'll figure that out one day. But yeah, thanks for listening to the podcast, people. Me and the Kraft man, we about to break down some wide receivers just like him and the running back whisperer, Slim Easy in. He was breaking down them running backs and did a hell of a job. So me and Kraft, we just gonna crack open a few beers, some Don Julio. And we're going to talk about some wide receivers. A lot more wide receivers to talk about. How are we going to do it, Craig? We're going to do some leaders, maybe some sleepers, stuff like that. So, I mean, we're recording our second episode tonight, so there ain't really no news to talk about. I guess if you're listening, James Conner's not playing, Debo's not playing. That's about it.
Yeah, news is good. We kind of covered that in the last episode, and shit, it's a Friday night, man. It's like Cartoon Network. They play Ed, Ed, and Eddie in the mornings, and then Robot Chicken at night. You know, you're gonna get a lot of. If your kids are listening, there might be a little F-bomb drop. You don't know what you're gonna get with this shit tonight because It's a good night when you take the Don Julio out the freezer and put it next to you when you record the podcast.
Oh Lord, the man said robot chicken at night, so we gonna get y'all some
Hey,
robot
you remember
chicken.
Robot Chicken,
Oh,
don't you?
I remember when the Adult Swim used to come on, and we'd be watching
Uh-huh.
that motherfucking meatball on that one.
Oh. Oh God, what's the name of that show, man? I used to love that
Something
show too.
about Aquaforce or something like that,
Aqua
man.
Teen Hunger Force. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Yep. Meatball,
Oh my
fry
gosh.
lock, and the fry lock and shake.
So basically, this episode right here, we breaking down the wide receivers. There's a lot more wide receivers to go through. We're gonna clarify. Me and Kraft kind of talked about it. We debated it. Should I look at season averages or season stats? Halfway through the year, we just figured, hey, season stats is the way to roll. Maybe at the end of the year when we break down some of this shit, season averages, we'll take a little look. Because some players miss games, stuff like that. When we do this and we talk, some players have had bye weeks, some players have not had bye weeks. Where do bye weeks even end, Kraft? Do you know?
I have no idea. I'm not even gonna act like I do. I think week 13 is my best guess, but I have that's
Yeah.
just a shot in the dark.
Yep. You know what? I think you're kind of right because I remember we had a little mess up where we was in the playoffs last year and had some people had bye weeks in there and we messed that up. Don't let that happen, fellas. Don't let that happen. In fact, shout out to the Galanis because Emil was calling out his brother for that one. He was like, he was like saying you stupid for that shit. That done cracks me up.
I
Uh,
mean, that's an NFL issue though? Why would you have a bye week in week 14?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was something like that. So yeah, be on alert. If you're a commissioner, be on the lookout for that, man. Can't have that. Can't have bye weeks in the playoffs.
Mm.
But the thing is, Kraft, is I wasn't in the playoffs no way, so I don't really care. So
You're just on the outside laughing at
hey,
Oh, you probably weren't laughing. You were probably crying. But
we was in there was like five of us in a five-way tie for the last spot, and I was definitely one of the odd man out. So in fact, I probably was on the bottom of that tiebreaker, I think. But the thing is, though, my team was so beat up and had COVID last year with all that shit last year. I didn't even deserve to be in there anyways. I was starting like Devontae Parker and Ryan Tannehill. I had no choice, man. But shoot, man, let's break down these wide receivers, man. I'm gonna start from the top. Got the leaders out. Number one on the year right now. In fact, I'm gonna just name off 1 through 5 right now. Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. And to me, I'm not surprised by any of those names. I Stephon, I think he was a little down last year, a little bit down last year, but he still had a good year. Him being at number one doesn't surprise me at all.
yeah, not at all. I had him ranked as wide receiver 3 before we started the year, behind Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson, and he's been great. There's nothing else to really say about him. He's been
Yeah.
awesome. But the main thing is, well, I mean, he's in everybody's starting lineups. But is he going to be the number one at the end of the year? You think it continues, or you think anybody's been slacking a little bit?
The only thing I could say, well, let's see. The thing is, I think it's just between three people: him, and Cooper Kupp, and Tyreek Hill. I know Cooper Kupp just had a bye week. I don't know. Has Buffalo had their bye week? I can't remember if they
Yeah,
have or
they're
not.
both. It says they both have played. Cooper Kupp and Diggs have played 6 games, while Tyreek has played 7, and Hill's at 3. But
Okay.
them two are still at 1 and 2 with one less game played. So
So to me, it's
even better.
between Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. I happen to be in a matchup this week where I have Cooper Kupp and my brother has Stephon Diggs. When Stephon in the offseason, he signed his little 3 or 4 year deal. I mean, he just shot up through my dynasty rankings because I was like, this is the best receiver with the number one quarterback right now on an offense that's just flying. I'm high on Stephon for about 3 to 4 more years. Um, I mean, there's not really much to say about Stephon except I think it's just between him and Cooper Kupp. I Tyreek Hill's kind of up in there in that level, but I, I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked at all. I
Yeah.
love me some Stephon Diggs. Wouldn't sell him, wouldn't trade him. This is what you're looking for right here.
Yeah. This is. This is great out of Diggs, and this is what he did 2 years ago. I think he was wide receiver 3 2 years ago. He kind of had a down. People said he had a down year. He was like wide receiver 14 or something last year. It
Yeah.
didn't really kill you, but I'm looking at the stats right now. I cannot believe, since we're talking about the top 5 with Tyreek Hill, you don't really look at him in the past as a target hog, but Diggs, you kind of did. And Diggs has 49 receptions on the year, and Tyreek has 57.
Yeah.
Um, but Tyreek has one more game played, but Tyreek is racking up receptions this year.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill, this is one guy I would say I was a swing and a miss on. I'm not saying I was so super down on Tyreek, but when you leave a Patrick Mahomes and you go to a Tua, who I like, I don't dislike Tua at all, but Patrick Mahomes is a top guy, so you expect Tyreek to take a little bit of a dip. Hell nah, this dude, I done changed my tune on Tyreek all the way, man. This dude can perform with third string quarterbacks. He can be a PPR guy. He can stretch the field. Tyreek Hill is just great.
Yeah. And, to piggyback on that a little bit, Tyreek and the coaching staff over there, I talk to my brother all the time, about every day on the phone about fantasy football. And the NFL gets the best players. Every team gets great players, but the ending results on what the coaching staff can do with them great players. And obviously, the coaching staff for the Dolphins, old Mike McDaniel, he knows how to use Tyreek Hill. If he went to say he went to the Panthers or the Jets, this man would not be doing anything.
All right.
But he's in a great situation. We needed to see it. We needed to see how this offense was going to run. People were, you couldn't predict that Tua. There were so many people saying Tua was a bust, Tua was this, Tua was that, and now everybody's like on this offense.
Yeah.
And I'm with them. I'm with them. I
And
trust the coaching staff, and he's
I
going to get the targets.
I got a shout out to the poor man P Miller and myself because we were never down on Tua like that. We've always been Tua guys, and you're right, man. You bring in an offensive head coach with an offensive mind. Just came from Kyle Shanahan, and it just turns things around. So it's like, and Brian Flores, he wasn't even a bad coach. He wasn't that bad, but it's just a big difference when you can bring an offensive guy in there that can help your quarterback, especially from a fantasy perspective. I mean, damn, Tyreek is just incredible. I don't want to skip over Cooper Kupp real quick. He's the number 2 wide receiver right now. Cooper Kupp is just a target hog. With Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
And Matthew Stafford's had a little elbow issue going on this year, but Cooper Kupp signed a big deal in the offseason. He's 29 years old. From a dynasty perspective, I feel comfortable keeping Cooper Kupp for a whole another year, knowing that he's going to get a lot of targets from Matthew Stafford. I don't know how long you want to ride this out because you want to sell Cooper Kupp at the right time, but I'd feel comfortable with this year, next year. Maybe we'll reevaluate after next year. We'll see where he's at. But Cooper Kupp, that's a bad man.
He is. I think he's still going to finish number 1 by the end of the year. He might jump Diggs for that spot. Justin Jefferson, I feel like it's going to rise up a little bit, but yeah, there ain't much to say about Cooper Kupp. I mean, he went for about 1,900 yards last year. He's already at 607, five total touchdowns. He's great, and he's gonna be at the top 5 at the least. He probably will end up number 1 if I had to rank it.
Yep, I agree. It's like you said, there's not much to say about Cooper Kupp, but I did want to stress the fact that, hey, I ain't selling unless I'm if I got a team that's just so bad and tanking, I'm trying to get a haul for Cooper Kupp once the trade deadline comes around. But man, if you're competing like I'm competing right now, man, Cooper Kupp has carried my team. So let's move on, man. We talked about Diggs, Kupp, and Tyreek Hill. We got Jamar Chase. Now he's out for 4 to 6 weeks, but Jamar, he started off kind of slow, but it's like I've been harping on it all year. Oh, I was really harping on it all on the offseason. teams that lose in the Super Bowl don't come back and just, run it up the next year. They usually struggle. They started off kind of slow at the beginning of the year. Things weren't easy. The O line wasn't clicking and stuff like that. I know last week me and you was saying, do we think the Bengals will turn it around? We both said no. I mean, we both, but it's like Jamar Chase to me is still either number one or number two in dynasty rankings. So he's out for 4 to 6 weeks right here. What do we make of Jamar Chase right now, Kraft?
Chase is a beast, and one thing I want to stress out to people, not stress. I don't want to stress out people. I want to stress to people is that Jamar Chase is not the receiver that he was last year. Tyreek Hill is leading. I'm gonna get back to Jamar Chase, but Tyreek Hill is leading the league in targets at 78 at the receiver position, and Jamar Chase is number 2. Jamar Chase was not a target hog last year. He was a big play, big play guy. So I feel like you have a much safer floor with Jamar Chase now. I mean, you're talking about number 2 in the NFL in targets.
Yeah.
And with the big playability that he has, I mean, wait, to the moon, man, to the moon with Jamar Chase when he comes off.
That's old big dunks guy right there. Jamar Chase loves him some Jamar. Unfortunate he's out because to me, I mean, I knew he had got banged up, but he came back in. So him being out 4 to 6 weeks kind of caught me by surprise. So, but listen, this is the debate that I like to have because we got Justin Jefferson down here at 5. And when you're doing dynasty rankings, it's pretty unanimous that it's Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase 1 to 2. You swap it up either way, you can go. And this is the debate I like to have because Justin Jefferson has Kirk Cousins. Now, I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is bad. I don't hate on Kirk at all. I think Kirk Cousins is a little underrated, but he's trash in prime time. Even I've conceded that. That dude cannot play in prime time. Jamar has Joe Burrow, who's just, he's just a bad man, seriously. And I always rank Justin Jefferson ahead of Jamar, but it doesn't even have to do with quarterback wise. It has to do with Jamar has T. Higgins, and I'm as high on T. Higgins as anybody. I'm a Clemson guy, so I'm a little biased. But if there's a Clemson GOAT wide receiver, it's T. Higgins. T. Higgins is the man. I love me some T. So I would always go Justin Jefferson over T. Higgins. But right now, Jamar was outscoring Justin Jefferson because Justin Jefferson had a couple down weeks. But shoot, other than that, I mean, he's just gone the fuck off. So it's like, where do you stand on that debate? Who's 1 and who's 2?
Man, that's a toughest damn question, and I've thought about it for a long time, and you got Jamar Chase who's going to be linked to Joe Burrow for the longest time. You don't know what the quarterback situation is going to look like in Minnesota for the next couple of years. After Cousins leaves, he probably I don't know what his contract is, but he might be set for this year and next year.
I want to say he extended himself for stealing money for a couple more years before the year. I don't know how long it goes, but
I'm going to say Jamar Chase is going to be my number 1 right now because with the statistics that he's putting up right now, and he's had 2 very good weeks the last 2 weeks, but his floor, people were like very very down on Jamar Chase before week 6 hit, but he was still scoring 10. This is half point PPR, I know, because he was scoring over 10 points a week in half point. So that's not what people wanted. And then he blows up for 30, 40 points, and he's just going to win you weeks. So will Jefferson. I mean, it's really, who do you want? Which player do you want to watch on Sundays? Because it's that close.
Yeah.
Just, which player you like better?
To me, they're so close that I said on the last episode, like, if you're a tanking guy, you're tanking and you got Justin Jefferson, I try to maybe go get Jamar Chase and then see if you can slide a draft pick in there. They're so close to me. Like, I wouldn't feel any type of way about giving up Justin Jefferson for Jamar Chase. I feel pretty good about either one of them. So it's like, I'm with you. I mean, that's one of the toughest debates there is, in my opinion, just for the number 1 spot. Both out of LSU. Yeah, what's crazy is I remember when Clemson played LSU that year, and AJ Terrell was that dude was getting cooked by these guys, and now you see that how good they are in the NFL. It's like, well, you got to give them a pass, man. These dudes are just so fucking good.
Yeah.
So it's like, but shoot, man, let's just move. Well, hey, let's just move on to your boy Devontae Adams. You know, he left Green Bay, headed to Las Vegas, playing with Derek Carr. Number 6 wide receiver. I can't remember where I had him at. Uh,
We were
you know,
close.
yeah, we
We
were
were
close,
very
but
close. It
I
was
want
about
to,
5 or 6.
yeah, I want to say maybe I was a little bit lower on Devontae because I know the volume. I was like, the volume ain't gonna be there without Aaron Rodgers. He's still been getting a lot of volume. Let me just look at it real quick right now. Devontae Adams, target wise, like week 1, 17, then he went 7, 10, 13, 7, 9. So he's still getting targets. I'll admit, I may have been a little wrong about Devontae, but where do we stand on Devontae Adams? 29 years old, 116 points. There's definitely a drop off between Justin Jefferson and Devontae as far as point wise. I'm not sure where that stands bye week wise. You would know better than I would. Um, where do
It's
we
the same.
the same?
They both missed one game. They both had a bye week already. So Justin Jefferson's outscoring them by about four. What's that? Shoot, 20. Yeah. Shit, I can't do math right now, man. I've been drinking too much.
Right.
About 20 points.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean Devontae Adams. I mean he's still a beast. One thing I think about is whenever I do these dynasty and I talk dynasty, I always talk about the situation. I value the situation more than most people do. But age and talent matters too. Like talent definitely matters. I think I learned a little bit on this offseason that the age and talent, I'm gonna kind of count it a little bit more than I would the situation. But situation definitely matters. I want to stress that to the people out there who are listening. The situation, it fucking matters.
Yeah. And I gotta, go on that too. Is when you draft, if you start a dynasty league, if you're new to it, um, talent always wins out, is what I gotta say. And redraft, I like to draft opportunity. Your Leonard Fournettes and shit like that. But in dynasty, talent will eventually win out, and you want to get them guys that are showing promise, that just look good to the eye test. The eye test is the best thing you can possibly get. We talk about 40 times and the draft combine and bullshit like that. Look on the damn TV screen, and if the dude looks good, it's probably good.
Man, amen, Kraft. Amen. You were preaching a good word right there. For those people out there who don't understand what we're saying, the motherfucking eye test is the best test there is. I don't care what analytics you got. I don't care what stats, what 40 times, whatever. The eye test matters. And the eye test is what it matters the most because and this is what I'll talk about with the eye test. People they like to look at the analytics and the measurements. Oh, he's got this arm and he's this height and this stuff like that. That kind of thinking gets to where you're drafting Mitch Trubisky over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Like that's stupid. Like I get sick of that. Like Kraft, man. I know I'm going on a tangent, but how can you draft Mitch Trubisky over Deshaun Watson, who just went to back-to-back national championship games, played Alabama and put up numbers that nobody else can do in back-to-back games? And you're telling me you're drafting Mitch Trubisky at the number 3 over guys like Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson? That stuff right there just drives me insane.
Yeah, it's just fucking absurd, man. When teams do that, man, I just think it's ridiculous. And you're talking about John Ross set the record for the 40 combine. Can somebody find John Ross for me? He's probably in his garage like me recording a fucking podcast right now because he ain't on the football field. And if he came out the same year as Tyreek Hill came out, I bet you he'd have got drafted higher than Tyreek. And when you look at the screen, Tyreek is the fastest dude that ever played the game. It don't matter what his 40 times said. I don't care.
I'm with you, Kraft. I mean, the eye test is the most important test, man. Trust your eyes and trust your gut, man. Especially, I'm gonna say that after the season when we start breaking down these rookies coming in, man. Dang, just watch these guys play, man, before you start listening to these analysts talk about, like he's only 5'11", like, he only did the shuffle run and this and this. Like, I ain't buying that shit, man. I ain't buying it. But
Hey,
like,
you remember when DK sucked ass at the shuttle, but he ran like a 4.340, and they were like, this guy can't run routes, but he's fast as hell, and he's like 250 pounds. I'm like, come on, bro. You just look at the production they did. He in the SEC or a big conference, and they're just
right.
putting up crazy numbers.
It's crazy, man. It's absurd, man. People, please trust your eyes, man. That's the most reliable thing. At number 7,
We
oh, go for it, Kraft.
I was just gonna say we just went off for like 20 minutes. We weren't even talking about fucking receivers.
Man,
Not
like,
one bit.
it's just crazy, man. It's like, how can you not trust your eyes and you trust in, like, oh, man, his hand size is this big? Like, stop, man. Stop, man. I just can't even, man. I can't. But Kraft, man, at number 7, man, we got Mike Evans. Mike Evans is crazy to me. It's just crazy. He's even at number 7. It doesn't seem like he is. The Buccaneers been struggling all year. Um, I mean, what do we make of Mike Evans? I mean, I don't even think I have him ranked this high. So it's like he's exceeded my expectations, but it's like how? Yeah. Well, okay, hold on, Kraft. I guarantee you these staffs are counting in that Thursday night game that just went down. They're the only people that's played this week. So,
Well,
or do
I'm
you got
seeing
Mike Evans?
seven.
You got him at 7
I'm
too?
seeing I'm seeing 7 games, but they played. Tampa Bay hadn't had a bye, but the
Yes.
stats that I'm seeing is 7 games. So
Okay. Well,
maybe they
look,
didn't count in that
I'm gonna
last
give him
game.
credit then. I can't slight the band. The dude's been playing. He's still good. I mean, I've watched Mike Evans. He's still good, and he makes a lot of contested
Oh,
catches. So it's like I'm not gonna sit here and hate on the guy just because the Buccaneers been struggling. Exceeded my expectations a little bit. So what do we make
yeah,
of Mike Evans? Well, hold on. I'm gonna go first real quick. From a dynasty perspective, I don't know, man. Because even if Tom comes back, I don't even know if Tom's going to come back to Tampa Bay. This dude's going to try to go to a squad that's loaded up somewhere. So players like Mike Evans and Godwin, I might be trying to sell those guys, even though I love them a lot.
yeah. And love is a good word because I love Mike Evans. I think he's great. He's just the best fantasy player of all time because you know exactly what you're going to get every year you draft him. He doesn't disappoint and he doesn't finish as like the top 3. He's just like I'm going to finish right here between about 15 and 7.
Yeah,
And that's what you draft every year. You're ecstatic about it, and
and
that's him every year.
he's there. He'll be banged up, but he's always playing. So it's like you can't hate on the man who's always there for you and reliable for you. You can always throw him in your lineup. So Mike Evans, man, I love me some Mike Evans, and I say this all the time, man. I know it's controversial down here in the South with all my Falcons guys. I'll take Mike Evans over Julio
Oh,
Jones any day of the week, man. Julio is the most overrated wide receiver I've ever seen, and I still think Julio's like maybe a top 10 guy of all time. But we got guys trying to put him up there in that like Randy Moss type of Jerry Rice type of tier right there, and I ain't buying that shit. There was never a year where that dude was better than Antonio Brown or Michael Thomas some of those years. So I'm just saying it right now. Mike Evans, definitely I'll take Mike Evans.
yeah, he's kind of been underrated throughout his career with the accolades that he's done. Was it 12? Is it 12 straight? How many years is it straight that he's been over 1,000 yards? Do you remember?
For Mike
It's like
Evans?
12. Yeah.
Nah, he's only been in a
12 seems
year.
like way
I
too
think it's
much.
I think it's either 6 or 7 years because he's only this is this is his ninth year in the
It's
league. So
been
it's like
it's been 40 straight years that Mike Evans has been over 1,000 yards. This is ridiculous. He was over 1,000 yards when he was born.
right. So,
It's incredible.
hey, Mike Evans, I remember when he was in college. I love me some Mike Evans. So, hey,
A&M.
A&M. So hey, I love it. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got Jalen Waddle. We talked about his teammate a little earlier, and I'm just a little shocked because all right, I remember off the top of my head right now, I had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle ranked side by side next to each other. These guys have both been going off. We got Jalen Waddle here at number 8. There was like another debate I like to bring up. What duo would you rather have? T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Waddle, Tyreek Hill. From a fantasy standpoint, I I was still saying T. Higgins and Jamar. I would have said that real football and fantasy standpoint. I mean, look at these guys, man. They're just going off with Tua and heck had a backup. They played some games with Teddy B and stuff like that. So, and whoever that third stringer is, I can't even remember off the top of my head. But,
Skyler to the sky, baby.
Yeah, so it's like Jalen Waddle right now is the number 8 wide receiver with 112 points. He's had some down games. I think really why he's up so high is against Baltimore. The dude had a 40-point game. So that really kind of spikes it up. But still, I mean, the guy's been solid. He's got double digits every week. I would rather have Tyreek over Waddle. I don't know if I felt like that before the year started. But what you think about Waddle?
I have Waddle on my Yahoo team, and I love starting him every single week. I was sitting here, checking some shit out, and I'm gonna do a little trivia for you right quick. So Jalen Waddle, looking at the top 50 receivers this year, Jalen Waddle is number 2 in yards per reception at 18.3 yards per reception. That's pretty stout. To compare him to his teammate, who is the deep threat, Jalen Waddle's averaging, like I said, 18.3 yards. Tyreek's averaging 13.6 yards per reception. So things have changed, but I'm going to even give you the team for who is averaging the most yards per reception this year in the top 50 wide receivers. He plays for the New York Jets.
What? You talking about Corey Davis?
Corey Davis.
I'll say it
is averaging the most yards per reception. This is in the top 50. I hadn't looked. I mean, you might catch like a Quez Watkins or something that only caught 2 passes this year.
Yeah.
But in the top 50, Corey Davis is averaging 18.5 yards per reception. So Jalen Waddle, every catch he gets is worth it.
Yeah.
You're almost getting every catch he gets at this point is almost worth you playing full point PPR, it's almost worth 3 points for every catch he gets. Yeah. That's why he's so high.
Yep. I mean, I agree. I love me some Waddle. Hey, what's crazy is in the league that I'll say that is most important, the home league. Before the year even started, my guy Dunk and Akil did a trade for let's see, Dunk had Jalen Waddle, Akil had Chase. And they both swapped. They swapped the guys. And because this is when Jamar was talking about like he can't catch the ball and all that shit was going on. Yeah. So Dunk got Jamar. Akil got Waddle. It's kind of paid off for both. It's like I'd rather have Jamar. But heck, I mean, shoot, it's just crazy. I mean, you didn't lose that trade that bad. It ain't like, but yeah, that's just a wild trade that went down. Here's a kicker for you though, Kraft. That man, before that rookie year right there, that man Akil offered me Jalen Waddle for Kadarius Toney, and I said, hell no, I ain't doing that.
Oh God!
Man, I wish I could take that back. That's when Kadarius. They was I mean, I was kind of high on Kadarius Toney, but I ain't even gonna talk about that bum. But moving on, number 9, Marquise Brown. This is one where I'm gonna plant my flag on it. And just say I was dead right on this dude because last year with Lamar, Lamar got banged up last year towards the back half of the year, so the Ravens played with a backup for pretty much half the season. Marquise Brown got up to wide receiver number 4, and that was with Lamar Jackson. That's with Mark Andrews. So this year I was saying, yo, this dude just went to Kyler Murray. He's definitely going to have a top 12 year. Before he went down, he was ranked number 5 in PPR leagues, and he went down in that game. So it's like I definitely am going to sit here and say I was right about Marquise Brown. I also want to say because he's hurt right now, so there's not really too much to say about Marquise Brown. But from a dynasty perspective, I would hold on to Marquise Brown. And I know he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. He's 25 years old. He's under. They picked up his next year, so he's going to be under contract with the Cardinals at least for next year. I imagine him being there for a few more years, most likely. So hold on to Marquise Brown. Don't give up on him unless the offer is just insanely ridiculous because he's a top 5 guy. Like my guy Kill, he offered me Jahan Dotson in the second round. I was like, get that shit out of here, man. And then he hit me with a text and was like, I thought that was a fair deal. Like, hell no. Don't even try me with that shit.
I get some trade offers sometimes, and when I get them, I just feel violated and disrespected sometimes. It actually hits me in my soul where I'm like, this motherfucker just thinks that I'm retarded. But like, I'm saying.
I mean, right though. I can't
deal with it. I can't deal with it. No, I was talking to Noah today, and Phil, this is the crew, man. This is part of our crew. He offered him a bogus ass trade, and Noah called me on the phone. He said he was like livid, like his hair was on fire, bro. I'm like, what the fuck you mad about, man? And he's like, I just got offered this trade that was it pissed me off, and I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, man. And people just think
yeah,
you're stupid.
hell yeah.
But
what he offered though? Do you have to know? I gotta know.
It was stupid. I mean, it was just stupid. I can't remember what. I wish Noah was here to tell me, but
I bet it had to do with Robert Woods.
Just drop him, Phil. Stop trying to trade him, man. Just drop him. No, nobody want Robert Woods, but I was gonna go back. This talking about Noah and everything. This connects to Noah too. He offered me a dynasty trade with Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown for Gabe Davis.
Oh man, I'll take Marquise Brown.
You think?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I would. I mean, but you know what? It's tough. It's tough. It's closer than what I would say before the year. If you were to said this few weeks like before the year, I'd have been like, you dumb not taking that. But the thing is like I made a trade in that Superflex league that we're in, and I traded Juju in a first for Marquise in a second. I mean, I was all on that. I was like, send that to me, man. I'll take that all day. So but the thing is, crap, when you're talking to me, I'm higher on Marquise Brown than a lot of people because even out there in that Twitterverse, it's like this dude don't get any respect. I mean, this dude's definitely a good player. I mean, I know like Donkey was saying, he's just a burner. I'm like, I don't know. This dude gets the short game and he can go deep. When D-Hop was coming back, I was like, they're finally going to be able to use Marquise Brown deep now. So it's like,
yeah,
I wasn't really down on Marquise Brown, even with D-Hop coming back. He might not be top 5, but I would still say it'd be top 12. So it's like, I'm a Marquise Brown guy all the way.
It depends on what kind of offense you're in. I mean, I look at Marquise Brown with the body type and the type of receiver he is Jalen Waddle. But Jalen Waddle last year was the rookie reception leader of all time, and he's not that kind of receiver. That was the way the Dolphins were built last year. So, and the same this year with Marquise Brown. He is a deep threat, and he can run a litany of routes. I mean, he can run all kind of routes, but it's the way the offense was ran in Baltimore, where he was just a deep threat, but he can do it all. I feel like he became the Jalen Waddle of last year, this year before he went out.
Yeah, and Marquise Brown, 25 years old. I mean, come on, fellas. Hey, if there's owners out there willing to buy low or sell low and stuff like that, I'd go get them if I was y'all. I mean, Marquise Brown is my third receiver on the team, and I feel as good as ever.
Gabe Davis, though, I declined it. Gabe Davis.
Yeah, I would have done it, man. I would have done it. But crap, I'll give you this. It's tough. It's tough. Like it ain't like a slam dunk. Like, oh, bam, I would have done it. That's a tough one. But let's move on, man, because at number 10 we got Mike Williams, and Mike Williams, another Clemson guy. So I love him, but I'm not gonna sit here and roast the man. this dude is the epitome of boom bust, man. And I don't mind boom bust guys because you need some of those guys. I would like to have Mike Williams as like a flex play all the time. I wouldn't mind him as a flex guy, but I don't know, man. Where do we stand on Mike Williams? Where do you stand on him, Kraft?
Well, isn't he out for the next? I mean, we just got talking about Marquise Brown, and I get really Marquise Brown is becoming a dynasty talk right now because for redraft, it's pretty much unless
Yeah.
you're a really or unless you're a winning team. If you listen to the last episode, if you're 6-1 right now, these are the guys you want to trade for. But um,
Yeah,
you're
Kraft.
talking about
Before you move
yeah,
on, you're right. He's out at least 4 weeks.
yeah,
So pretty much an IR guy at this point.
yeah. But he's been Mike Williams is like you said the epitome of boom bust,
Yeah.
and he'll perform when somebody's out, and Keenan Allen's been out all year, so this has kind of been he's wide receiver 10 because of Keenan Allen being out. I don't know where he would be if Keenan Allen was in all year
Well,
long. So
well, like even last year, he finished in the top 12 last year. So
yeah,
it's like I love me some Mike Williams. I think the talent is there, and plus I think Justin Herbert. It's been underreported. I think he's banged up. I think he's definitely banged up in the ribs and stuff like that.
yeah,
Mike Williams is definitely a nice little buy. The thing is, I say he's a nice buy low candidate, but when you sit here and look where he's at in the rankings, you're like, you can't buy on this you can't buy low on this guy because the dude's in the top
no.
12. So it's like you're stuck with him. You either love him or you hate him.
Oh yeah, I'm with the same way. And you want the full roster in when you're a Mike Williams owner. Like even he's one of them players that with Keenan Allen in, I think he might be better because he can play his natural role of being the deep threat. The
Yeah,
guy who's gonna he's like the Gabe Davis to the Stephon Diggs.
right.
Stephon Diggs is Keenan Allen. Gabe Davis is Mike Williams. You like it when them guys are in because it opens up the deep threat for Mike Williams. But he's been a totally different player this year because Keenan Allen has been out. And
Yeah,
I'm ready for that team to get healthy and have everybody together so Herbert can perform and the
yeah.
rest of them can perform.
Same. I'm with you. I say we move on, man. And number 11 right here is your boy. But listen, man, I gotta quit calling him your boy because I was low on him too. Amari Cooper, number 11, and I just got one main question about him. Well, here it's another thing. It's like I want to say, would you buy low on Amari Cooper? How can you buy low on a guy who's in the top 12? So it's like Amari Cooper. Where do we stand on Amari? I was low on him like you. Now I didn't say you can't roster him. Now I ain't gonna go that far, but Deshaun will be back. Week 13. But for next year, like where do we stand, Amari? Like on Amari Cooper? Maybe not just for this year, but what about for next year with Deshaun and stuff like that? Like where do you stand, Kraft?
You know how in the last episode I talk about them old heads being stubborn?
Right.
I'm getting pretty fucking old. And
Same.
and I'm gonna go down with this ship and I'm gonna just keep saying that Amari Cooper I'm not this is a fantasy football podcast and we want to give people the right information. So in redraft for sure, just keep playing them. But for my own personal vendetta, he's about to start sucking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with it. I have admitted I'm wrong on a lot of things. Travis Etienne being one of them, Trevor Lawrence, a lot of things. But this one, I can't. I'm gonna hold to my guns right here.
See where I stand with Amari Cooper is he's like a better dynasty play than he is a redraft play. Because I don't think him and Jacoby Brissett, this cannot be sustained, man. In the top 12, this cannot be. I mean, I'm with you, Kraft. I mean, I'm telling you, this can't keep going on. Dynasty wise, you're bringing Deshaun. I'm with you. Deshaun's definitely going to be rusty. The dude ain't played football in 2 years. I don't even care about Deshaun for this year. I'm just kind of thinking about next year. The dude will be out for 2 years. He'll have a few games under his belt, but I don't know where I stand with Amari Cooper. I mean, I feel like he might be all right, but the thing is I feel like I might let's just say we move to next year and we're doing redraft. I would pass on Amari Cooper to go draft a Donovan Peoples Jones or a David Bell later in the draft and get them cheaper. That's where I stand.
Yeah, this is. I swear this is just going to be one of them guys that I don't have on my any of my teams, but that's just my team. And if you believe in him, and he seems to be working out all right, so it's really call your shot. But as you know, when we do these podcasts, we try to be reasonable and not
Right.
just hold vendettas against against people. But
Can't get emotional,
th-
man. You can't
yeah,
get
this
emotional.
it's not an emotional take about Amari Cooper. I just don't. I think it's a fluke as far
Yeah.
as just a fantasy football peace of mind. That's just what I think. It's not a personal thing.
Right. And honestly, I kind of agree with you. I pretty much kind of agree with you with Amari Cooper every step of the way. I mean, I always say he's your boy, but I only say he's your boy because you said he couldn't be rostered.
He's not. That man is not my boy, man. He's not related to me at all. He's adopted. He's like third third cousin adopted, man.
So let's just move on, man. Y'all know where we stand with Amari Cooper. Maybe from a dynasty perspective, I might be a little higher than Kraft. Uh, but let's move on to my other guys, Christian Kirk. I was higher on Christian Kirk than say Kraft this year. I wasn't this high. Right now, he's at number 12, and the reason why Kraft gives me the victory is because I was a little higher on Christian Kirk than he was. I feel like I was higher on Christian Kirk than a lot of people out there in the industry. So, but the reason why I was is because this dude signed, he got overpaid. This dude Christian Kirk is not that good for the money he's got. Let's just be honest. We all know it's true. But he got paid. This dude's the number one wide receiver for Trevor Lawrence, who I don't, I've been up and down on Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a Clemson guy. He's the number 9 quarterback on the year right now. So honestly, he's doing a little bit better than I thought. But Christian Kirk is the number 1 guy. Zay Jones and Marvin Jones, they're not really taking too many targets away. ETN might take some, especially going forward. But Christian Kirk, I feel as good about Christian Kirk as anybody out there right now. If he was my wide receiver 2, I'd feel pretty good. That's how, before the year, I'd be like, man, if Christian Kirk was my 3rd or 4th guy, I'd be feeling great. If he was my number 2 guy, I'd be sitting here like, damn, I'm sitting here stacked. So, where do you stand on Christian Kirk, Kraft?
I'm pretty high on him. I played against him last week, and it was just one of them things where I'm like, you ever look at your fantasy lineup and you're like, I just know this guy's pretty much done for the day.
Yeah,
And when you look at Christian Kirk, you're like, no, he gets so many targets. He's about to just keep racking up PPR points over and over. And I was playing against him, and I'm just like, come on. Every second, I was like, God, this dude's just catching every single pass. He's getting like 2 points every drive almost. So as far as the targets go and the opportunity and just the need of Christian Kirk, he's going to stay. I don't think he's going to finish. This is besides all the injured players we've talked about. If you take out Marquise Brown and Mike Williams, who we just talked about, they're obviously not going to finish in the top 10 because they're injured. And Jamar Chase probably won't because he's
yeah,
injured. Christian
right.
Kirk, I don't think that he's going to finish. So we talked about 10. We dropped 3 because of the injury, so that's 7. So that would put Christian Kirk at 8. I don't think Christian Kirk is going to finish in the top 10, but if you're talking about a very solid wide receiver 2, I think he's going to finish in that range.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I love me some Christian Kirk right now. And look, and what you're saying right now is I can relate because last week at that Jacksonville New York Giants game, that shit would not end because I was going against somebody who had Saquon and Christian Kirk. I was like, this game's got to be fucking over by now, man.
I
Just
know.
end. But hey,
Yeah.
you know,
He's like just death by 1,000 cuts. That's Christian Kirk.
right. So Christian Kirk, me and Kraft, we both liked the man. He's been pretty good. So next I got old Debo Samuel, and he's out this week. I guess when we talk about Debo, we both love the talent. I mean, when I see Debo, it's just like, man, you don't want to tackle that guy. But Christian McCaffrey comes. I haven't really been fading Debo as much. I mean, Debo finishes like the number 2 wide receiver last year, so obviously he's faded a little bit. But right now, right here, I got him at 13. Christian McCaffrey. This is where I say I just from a fantasy standpoint, I trust Kyle Shanahan. I think he's still going to give Debo some carries. Still going to try to find Debo to give him the rock. Christian McCaffrey's still going to eat. He's still going to go off, I feel like. But I know you disagree a little bit with that. Where do you stand, Kraft?
I know you see me shaking my head. I don't know if I disagree with it. I've had Debo on my team this whole year, and I just don't feel the wide receiver 12. I don't feel it.
Yeah.
As a fantasy player, it's like I feel disappointment because he's really just scored about 12 points. I'm in half PPR. He scores like 12 points every week, and it's just like you didn't lose me the week, but you sure as hell didn't win me the week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, the main question is right here with Debo is he's wide receiver 12. I'm going to just give you a couple names who are way outside the wide receiver 12 and just to see your confidence in them. Would you rather have A.J. Brown?
Yeah, I would.
He's wide receiver 18 right
Yeah.
now. T. Higgins, wide receiver 23.
Man, especially now with Jamar going out, I'd definitely rather have T. Higgins.
C.D. Lamb.
Okay, I'm gonna be real. That's where we get debatable right there because I'm high on CD Lamb, but I don't know if I'm high on CD Lamb with Dak Prescott right now because they haven't done. I mean, it's only been 2 games. They ain't done shit. So it's like we gotta see. You got another guy, man. You got another guy.
Amon Ra.
Man, damn, man, shit.
Coming with the smoke. I ain't playing with the
Okay,
shit.
I think I'd rather have Debo over Amon Ra, but that's close, man. That's close.
Very, very close. Amon
Mm-hmm.
Ra's missed a couple games. Amon Ra's sitting at wide receiver 30, but anybody who owns Amon Ra, he is not wide receiver 30. And there's
No.
no way. He's a badass. I'm gonna sit by Amon Ra. I really like him. I don't know if I'll put him over Debo, but
Yeah.
he's a great. I feel like he's a little underrated right now.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I mean, that's where we stand with Debo. It's close with Debo. Debo's out this week. Hopefully he'll get healthy. But like as far as like Debo's usage, I kind of think it's still going to be the same. He might get a little less, but I still think he's going to get the rushing attempts. Man, Kyle Shanahan knows what he's doing back there, man. He knows how to run an offense. Christian McCaffrey's still going to do his work. If anything, I think Christian McCaffrey's going to take a little hit because that target share is going to drop, but the scoring opportunity is going to be there.
Yeah.
But we'll see because
Good.
I could be wrong about Christian McCaffrey because we got to see it a little bit.
You hadn't had a chance to talk about McCaffrey, so you want to give your 2 cents?
I mean, that is my 2 cents. I think the target share goes down, but I think the scoring opportunity goes up. But the thing is this dude might get a lot of rushing attempts, period, with you know how Kyle Shanahan is with his running backs. This dude might just feed Christian McCaffrey and the thing is if Christian McCaffrey's going off, holy shit. This might get scary. So I would love to have CMC.
San Francisco running backs. I don't know what it is with them, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it before I say it. I never wish injuries on anybody, but
Right.
for some reason, San Francisco running backs get injured.
Always get hurt. And look, man, I want to shout out to my brother. I'm sorry, man. I condone him trading Christian McCaffrey before the year. I just want to say I'm sorry. You shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have done it. That's 2 times I feel like I've let you down, brother. I haven't let down other people, but I've let you down twice. You might need to hit up one of your boys before you hit your brother up, man. But shoot, man, let's just move on to the next one. We just rolling through the rankings, and this is where we get to my guy, CD Lamb. CD Lamb was number 3 in my dynasty rankings. I'm not sure I really even peel off from that just yet. I think, if anything, I might would move him to 4 because I had Cooper Cup at 4 still, even with him being at age 29. If you would have told me Cooper Cup's going to give me a couple more years, I'd probably put Cooper Cup ahead of CD again. Before the year, I
Yeah.
was a little bit lower, but now I see it like I'm like, damn, Cooper Cup's going to go a whole another year for sure after this. I think. CD Lamb, he's more of like a PPR play. I might would be a little lower and half PPR. Uh, I just got to see what's up with Dak Prescott. I think this is a Dak Prescott thing more than the CD kind of thing at this point because I like CD. I know we discussed it one time, like would we put like on a real football standpoint, would I put CD up with these guys? Like, man, from real football, I ain't putting CD up with none of these guys as far as like Jamar, Justin Jefferson. I wouldn't even put them on the Devontae Adams. I wouldn't put them on any level like that. But from a fantasy standpoint, I think CeeDee Lamb is as good as anybody. He was number 12. I mean, even with Cooper Rush, he was a top 12 guy. So it's like, damn, the dude can play. He's in the slot, so you know he's going to get these targets all the time. It's a Dak Prescott question to me. I'm starting to question Dak Prescott at this point.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to push back on you. I'm gonna have to push back on you on this one because with CD, I think he's a great player. I think that he's like I said in the last episode, I think he's above average. And dynasty wise, top 5 probably for me. But I think he in redraft, and you know I'm like the redraft guy.
Yeah.
But in redraft, I think he's overdrafted every year.
Yeah.
I think
Honestly, I
I think
agree with
he
that
is.
100%.
Yeah, I think he's overdrafted every year. I'm kind of trying to go back to last year to see where he finished in full PPR leagues. He finished at wide receiver 19 last year.
Yeah.
That's not where he was drafted at. He was drafted higher than that. He's where's he at right now? Wide
He's
receiver
at
13.
14 right now, and Dak just came back. He was
Yeah.
12 all the way through Cooper Cup's run, and that was with CD being bad
Yeah.
week 1 with Dak Prescott. That's why I say this is a Dak Prescott question at this point.
Yeah, and I agree. It's a Dak Prescott thing because he's got a 56% catch rate this
Yeah.
year, which is not good. Stephon Diggs is around 75%. Um, so that just shows you the difference in quarterback play. You look at DJ Moore or somebody like that, it's like it's like 2% catch rate, you know.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, and that goes with fantasy though. When you have bad quarterback play, is that going to change, or do we just need to start looking at CD as just a viable wide receiver 2, and just get rid of this whole wide receiver 1 upside debate?
I'm not going to give it up, but I think it's definitely we're trending towards that way. Like I'm going to be objective. Like I was high on CD before the year with Amari Cooper rolling out. But you're right. I mean, Dak Prescott, all that applies to fantasy football. So it's like, in real football, hell no. Nah. I'm not sitting here acting like CD is any of these guys. Fantasy, you're in the slot, you're right here. It's like, yo, you're getting all these targets. I mean, I put it like this. I saw a little stat today. There's like 4 or 5 guys with over a 30% target share or whatever. And CD was one of those guys. So it's like, I want to have
Yeah,
faith in CD Lamb, and from a dynasty perspective, like I had AJ Brown at 5, I would still keep CD at 4 and AJ Brown at 5. But you know, if we start going through the year and him and Dak Prescott can't get that connection, I'm gonna have to reevaluate things for sure.
yeah. I think DK needs to be, arise from the dead too, from our rankings, and
Yeah,
especially in dynasty rankings. I think he should be right behind them two we just talked about.
yeah. So CD is a tough one, man. That's just one we have to see. I mean, we got a back half of the year. I honestly can't wait to see what CD's got. I still think he's going to go off, but I I ain't gonna sit here and act like I ain't been wrong about him or anything. But the thing is, like, if you would have told me he was in the top 12, I'd have been like, okay, like that's good. But 14, maybe drop. I don't know.
Yeah.
CD's a tough one, man. CD's definitely a tough one. Redraft though, I wouldn't want his ass. I'd be trying to ship him off if I could.
He's kind of been in redraft. He's kind of been a I ain't even gonna say bust because so many players get injured and they just like a DJ Moore this year. It's just like that was a wasted draft pick.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb's not a wasted draft pick, but I feel like people draft him a lot as that high upside guy where it's just like this guy could finish as a wide receiver one this year. And, I think it's about time to put that to bed because it's the offense that he's in. It's Dak Prescott. And that, like I said in the last episode, Dallas's defense don't
Yeah.
the Cowboys don't have to do that much to win with their
Right.
defense playing the way they're playing.
Agreed. Agreed all the way. So at number 15, we got Tyler Lockett. And this is the first wide receiver I'm like, this motherfucker does not belong, man. Oh man, I mean, holy shit. But
It's every year he's so underrated. Every
Right.
time though.
Every year, you're right, 100% every year. Tyler Lockett right now is with Geno Smith. This guy's put up. I know he had that at week one. He had 5, but hell, he's probably facing Pat Surtain every now and then and stuff like that. But after that, he goes 19, 16, 12, 27. He had 3 versus Arizona, but then he had 11 last year versus the Chargers. It's like this dude has more than beyond exceeded my expectations. I'll definitely take a L on Tyler Lockett. I'll take a L on DK Metcalf too, because Geno Smith's been out there rolling. Tyler
You don't
Lockett.
have to take an L on DK. He's a wide receiver 29 right now, and we had him ranked about wide receiver.
Well, true, but still, I mean, I look at DK and I'm like, he's definitely done something. He's definitely had some weeks where I was like, I'm surprised he did that shit. But Tyler Lockett, where did this come from? I mean, I'm surprised that he's done this good this year, but I left him for dead. But where do you stand on Tyler Lockett? Sell him if you can, shit.
Yeah. Well, I would say sell him if you can, but I'm sitting here looking at the list right now, and I don't see anybody that I like. You just got down to Tyler Lockett after we just named off all them great receivers,
Right?
Besides Amari fucking Cooper, but I'm looking down at the list, and I just don't see anybody. I'm not high on Pittman. I'm not high on Boyd. I think AJ Brown for sure will finish. I think Chris Olave too, but when I go to look down at these receivers right here, I just don't really see a whole bunch that could jump him, as in terms of just being a viable wide. He's going to be a good wide receiver too for your team, and I don't think he's going to finish where he's at right now at wide receiver 15, but there's going to be a couple of people that jump ahead, and he should be very solid for your team. If you want to start him every week, just roll with it. I think he's going to be a wide receiver 2 or flex spot right now.
Yeah.
Man, what do you think? You had to take a piss. Man, you just had that. I ain't even going because people are going to judge the hell out of me for just rambling like hell. Matt had to take a piss. I had to just keep talking about Tyler Lockett, even though I didn't want to. And he just came back, sat down on the couch, and I'm like,
man, listen, man.
Anybody listens to this says crap will not shut the hell up, bro.
We on the Zoom call, and I was like, shit, I can make it to the end of this little. I was like, hell no, I can't. And then I got back, you're like, well, what do you think? Hell, I don't know. I don't fucking like Tyler Lockett. I don't want it.
I don't even know what I said, man. I just kept. I made my point on Tyler Lockett. Then I seen I was looking at an empty couch, and I was like, well, I guess I just got to keep rambling about Tyler Lockett.
Well, look, fellas. Here's my opinion on Tyler Lockett. Sell him if you can. Shit, I mean, I don't want Tyler Lockett. I don't want to have no business with Tyler Lockett. That's where I stand. But hell, he's been pretty good. So, but still, I'll still sell him if I can. This would be a perfect time to sell him, honestly. So, real quick, man, we at the end of our little Zoom call. We got a few minutes left, but Tyler Boyd, he's at number 16 right here. And listen, man, I would sit here and say Tyler Boyd don't belong. I've been playing Tyler Boyd with T. Higgins all year in the Superflex League, and it's been paying off. Well, I ain't gonna say all year, but hold on, let me just look.
Well, yeah.
Like
With
last
Chase
week,
out, it's a different story.
yeah. Now last week he had 29. He's been getting double digits a majority of the games. Last week he had 29, but I do remember he had a big touchdown versus the Falcons. Now with Jamar Chase, it's like, jeez, this dude Tyler Boyd might just go off. I mean, I know people are a little worried about T. Higgins and stuff. I'm like, T. Higgins is gonna be fine. Tyler Boyd's gonna be fine too. Both of these guys are gonna go off. Where do you stand with Boyd?
Yeah, with Jamar Chase out, I do have a little concern for Joe Burrow. I think his production is going to go down a little bit. He had 50 points last week and like 30 something the week before. Jamar Chase is a massive piece of Joe Burrow in this offense. You cannot replace him with Tyler Boyd. But T. Higgins would be a wide receiver one for any other team. So don't feel bad for Joe Burrow either. But Tyler Boyd has been one of them guys like all year. We kind of treat him like the tight ends. We're just like, fucking throw him in if you want to, you know?
Right.
And now it's like he's an every week start.
Oh,
He jumped from just throw him in to he should be in your starting lineup. That's where I'm
Tyler
at.
Boyd's good too, man. Sure hands, everything. So it's like, yeah, you're right. I mean, if I could flex Tyler Boyd, I'm doing that all day, man, all day. So I love me some Tyler Boyd. Man, let's just move on, man. We got before I guess we get on to some sleepers or whatever. I got AJ Brown at 17, Pittman at 18, Chris Olave at 19. I wanted to say a little something about Chris Olave because he's the first rookie we talked about, but AJ Brown 17. I seen he had the same amount of targets I saw today. Has got the same amount of receptions as Devontae Smith right now, but just a lot more yards. I love me some AJ Brown. I got him 5 in my dynasty rankings. I had him higher than a lot of people in redraft. I had him at 8. Right now he's at 17, so I'm looking wrong right now. But I still like AJ Brown. He's just another guy. He's a boom bust guy, man. This dude might go off one week. He might get you single digits another week. So where do you stand on AJ Brown?
I love AJ Brown, and one thing I want to point out to people is we're not really counting in bye weeks, and if you want to count in points, AJ Brown's played 6 games. A lot of these guys like Christian Kirk, Debo, Amari Cooper, they all played 7 games. AJ Brown's ranked at wide receiver 18. He is only to jump up all the way to wide receiver 11. He's only 6 points away.
Okay.
So
slightly wrong.
This
but...
is no. I mean, I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm not saying anything. This is the sites we're looking at. We have to go off bye weeks and way things have happened. But when you're looking at these players as far as their rankings go, AJ Brown, and this just proves it to me that I feel like AJ Brown belongs way ahead of Christian Kirk, and I would say even Debo, CeeDee Lamb too. Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I agree 100%. 1,000% really. So yeah, AJ Brown, and the thing is I like everything the Eagles are doing. I respect Jalen Hurts, what he's been doing. I definitely have gained a respect for Jalen Hurts as far as just being an overall quarterback. I mean, he's getting these guys involved. He's keeping his own Russians, going. So I like me some AJ Brown. I'm not gonna sit here and hate. The next guy we got is Michael Pittman, and this is where I'm gonna hate a little bit, but I'm not gonna hate on Michael Pittman itself. This dude already this year, the Colts just keep bringing in these old motherfuckers, and it's like eventually the Colts got to bring in a young quarterback to just be the franchise guy for the next 10 years. They're kind of letting down guys like Michael Pittman. I know Alex Pierce is a rookie this year, but get these guys a young QB that something to build for the future. I mean, I know they're trying to win now and stuff, but you're not winning right now when you're in the AFC with Mahomes and Josh Allen and stuff. Why don't y'all go get y'all a young guy and build a rapport with these guys and stuff like that? So I love me some Michael Pittman. I had him just outside the top 12 before the year. He's at like 18 this year. Matt Ryan definitely decline. I mean, I'm a Matt Ryan guy. I've defended him more than anybody over the years being with the Falcons. Clearly hit a cliff this year because this is the best team he's been on in a long time. He's old. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you a favor, Matt, right quick. Let's switch over to average points per game now that we're over the top 10
Right.
because it's
I
starting to get it's
I got
starting
you.
starting to get injured. When we talked about we're talking about Pittman here, and when it was AJ Brown, we were talking about AJ Brown, and I'm like, I could have swore he did better than that. But Pittman's at wide tied with AJ Brown at wide receiver 13. But like you said, you got Sam
Yep.
Ellinger coming in. If I can't pronounce his last name correctly as a quarterback in the NFL, and I pay me and Matt pay attention to the NFL probably more than a lot of people.
Right.
Um, I'm not feeling real confident in the number one wide receiver on the Colts right now. He's at wide receiver 13 in points per game, but I'm expecting a little drop off from here on out. If you can trade him, I think I would. I don't think he's
Mm.
going to drop off completely, though. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
don't think he's going to drop off completely.
The thing is that's tough, man. I would like to disagree with you, but I just can't, man. If I could sell, I
Do
mean,
it. Do
Pittman's
it,
only a
Matt.
second
Do
year
it.
guy. I'll put it like this: Pittman's only a 2 year guy, but do you trust the Colts to go out there and draft a quarterback and develop a quarterback and let Pittman be what he should be? I just don't trust the Colts to do that. I think even after this year, they'll probably go try to find him another old quarterback somewhere. So it's like
I
I
disagree.
I
I,
feel
I
bad for
disagree
Pittman.
completely.
I don't know what the
I
Colts are gonna do.
disagree.
I don't really trust them. Period. At
Yeah.
this
I
point,
mean, you. I try to disagree completely because I think that they just benched Matt Ryan's ass. They didn't just say he is the second string. They made sure he wasn't going to play another snap this year. And I really think that Matt Ryan caught the shit end of the stick because last year they went and got Carson Wentz, another veteran, and he didn't work out. So they went and got Matt Ryan, and then he didn't work out. And then Jim Irsay, the owner, was like, "I'm done with this shit.
yeah,
Like I'm done paying these veterans and thinking it's gonna work out." And I sound kind of negative right now, but I'm kind of speaking in Jim Irsay's voice. I'm like, "Fuck this, Matt Ryan," but you know, I ain't trying to sound negative. It ain't got nothing to do with me. But I think Sam Ellinger is just. I don't think it even came from Frank Wright, the head coach. I think it came from up above, and it just is what it is. I think Jonathan Taylor is the best play in this offense, and I think Michael Thomas drops off to a low end wide receiver two for the rest of the year.
yeah,
But I want to give Matt. I mean, you got anything about that? Do you think he's a low end wide receiver one or anything? I don't.
man. Not this year, man. Honestly, I love me some Pittman, but it's just like I just don't. I don't know, man. They just can't get a quarterback in there to just. I mean, I thought Matt Ryan was going to be that. I listen. I know that Matt Ryan was old, but I was like, yo, he's going to be all right this year, and gonna be all right maybe next year. But man, I watched him play, and I'm like, holy shit. I mean, I know. I'll put it like this: I watched him one game, and I know, like I'm in a crew with a bunch of haters. They hate Matt Ryan, man. Falcons fans and all. They'll hate on Matt Ryan all the way. They'll be like, "Oh man, Matt Ryan had plenty of time in the pocket." Man, I seen that one game where they had that rookie left tackle in, man, for the Colts. Man, I was like, "Holy fuck, that dude can. That dude is struggling. That dude has like 4 penalties in the first half." I was like, and this is my shout out to my boy DT because he's the biggest Matt Ryan hater there is. I'm like, yo, if you don't think that O line is having problems tonight, you're just straight hating. But I can't all the way blame it on Matt Ryan. But yo, man, Matt Ryan's old, man. That dude, he's not that. He's just not that good, man. The only thing I disagree was when my guys at Mill said Matt Ryan's the worst starting quarterback in the league. Totally disagree.
No.
Totally
Oh
disagree.
shit.
The worst one is right now to
Yeah.
me is Justin Fields, and I know he had an all right game versus Bill Belichick.
No. No. No.
Nobody
No.
worse than Justin Fields.
No.
I'll put Justin Fields on the bench Any day of the week, man. Any day of the week. Give me Andy Dalton. I don't care who it is, man.
I bet you start his ass over PJ Walker in your fantasy league, though. I bet you
Okay,
start his ass
a
over
thousand
PJ Walker,
percent,
though.
a thousand
And
percent. I
Zach
agree.
Wilson. I bet you
No,
start him over Zach Wilson, too.
I know
You
Zach
ain't starting
Wilson's
Justin Fields over Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson's been struggling, but if I'm just taking a shot in the dark, I'm definitely rolling with Zach Wilson over Justin Fields. Sorry ass. And
Hey,
I've been giving Justin Fields the benefit of the doubt, man, the benefit of the doubt. But I saw him versus the motherfucking Commanders, and if you can't dump the ball off to the running back, simple as that, dude, you're trash, man. You're trash. So Justin Fields,
almost.
I can't even believe you're rostered in my home leagues. Emil, drop that guy, man. He is garbage.
I'm gonna just say fuck this to Matt right here, man. Come on, anybody out of all our viewers who listen to this show, whenever you play this on your podcast, I don't care if Matt's sleeping, I don't care if he just fell asleep. Message his phone and tell him that you would start Justin Fields over Zach Wilson. I want to see how many messages he gets just blowing up his phone while he's trying to sleep, because if it was me, I would start Justin Fields over Zach Wilson every day of the week, anytime. And this is why I love this podcast. We ain't talking about these motherfuckers at all. We're talking about who we talking about. Who we talking?
Justin
Where do we
Fields and
start off
Zach
with?
Wilson, man. These
No,
bums.
we were talking about wide receivers.
Oh,
we were on wide. This is a wide receiver.
we was talking about
episode.
Michael Pittman. Oh Lord, man. Yeah, you're right. How did
this
we
is
get
why
on
this podcast is good, man. This is why this podcast is good, because we went from Michael Pittman to Justin Fields and Zach Wilson.
But listen, I'll say this, Kraft. Justin Fields is in a shitty situation. There's no doubt about it. But you can't just straight up just blame it all on Justin Fields. Like, I mean, all on the shitty situation. Like, there's been some quarterbacks do better than what this guy was doing. Before last week, Kraft, this dude had as many points as Matt Ryan and Baker Mayfield. Like, are you serious? This guy's mobile and shit. Like, you can run. Like, he's a bum right now.
It's recency bias. It's recency bias. Don't make me pull up Zach Wilson's sleeper.
No, Zach Wilson's been so bad these past 3 to 4 weeks. But here's the thing, man. I'm a better fantasy player than if you sit here deciding between Justin Fields and Zach Wilson. You just suck. You trash, man. You need to re-examine your team.
That's me.
Hey, but here's the thing, though, crap. I was about to start Justin Fields all year in that redraft league, but I had to go get Trevor Lawrence. So,
yeah, but you can talk shit. You can talk shit all you want of me in that randos and crew members dynasty league. I had Matt Ryan. I have to figure out something, and Matt Ryan's done for the year. So, I mean, we got Zach Wilson on the year. He scored 20, 14, 4. His last 2 games are 4 points and 7 points. You can get that out of a kicker. You can get that out of a kicker.
Right. I mean, shit. I mean, honestly, me and Crab are talking about guys like, if you in situations like this, you ain't winning. So, like, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you.
Oh yeah, how we got here out of Michael Pittman. But bro, I gotta interrupt you for a second. This has nothing to do with fantasy football, bro. But do you realize how your Siri and Face ID does not work when you're drunk? Like, it does not recognize your face.
I'm about to try right now. But listen, man, I've been growing
my beard
out.
I tried to unlock my sleeper. I tried to unlock my sleeper app, and it was like, we cannot recognize your face.
Man, crap, ever since I grown this beard out, man, that shit, I don't ever recognize my face, man. Oh, my God, man. But, man, listen, crap, there's a couple more guys I just wanted to talk about, because Chris Olave, rookie. We hadn't talked about any rookies. Chris Olave, before the year started, I was saying NFL-wise, he's the most NFL-ready wide receiver. He's been doing this with Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton. I wish the Saints would bring in a good wide receiver. Olave, I love me some Olave. I think if he would have came out a year before, this guy would have definitely been a higher. Okay, look, Kraft, I don't know how this was your first dynasty league, so I don't know how deep he was in the rookie draft. Olave was pretty much going at the 107, 108 behind guys like Burks, even behind Jamison Williams. Who else? You know, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, they was all going. So there was like a little tier going before Olave. If Olave comes out a year before, this guy's going out way higher. I like me some Olave. Um, when I watch Olave play, I'm like, damn, how could people be playing this dude Burt? How could people be picking Treylon Burks over Olave? But this is like when it comes to these rookies, I'm like, yo, the situation matters, man. This dude Treylon Burks, I don't care what the fuck he looked at like at Arkansas. This man just went to the Tennessee Titans, who's got Ryan Tannehill, who's shitting a brick in the playoffs. So it's like, I don't know, man. I love me some Olave. I think Olave is solid. Olave might be better than Garrett Wilson. And Garrett Wilson, before the draft, was like the consistent number one wide receiver. Before Drake London went to the Falcons, and everybody was like, well, hell, he gets all the opportunity. So I would have taken Drake London at the 103. I definitely would have went Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, Drake London, then Garrett Wilson. But now I'm looking at him like, man, maybe we should have put Olave a little higher, man. What you think?
Well, it's all, we live in a recency bias world where it's kind of like you want to go with the, like you said, situation and college prospects and stuff like this. But, at the end of the day, when you look at just the whole NFL as a whole, Devontae Adams come from Fresno State, leading receiver in the NFL. You got Justin Jefferson. I think he was a second round pick when he come out.
Yep.
And Jamar Chase that's an exception. He was the first wide receiver taken in the NFL draft. But, it's really a hit or miss when it comes to dynasty drafts. And just an advice for next year, just take, if you definitely watch college football, which I'm definitely gonna rely on Matt next year when we do dynasty, because redraft is my forte.
Yeah.
But dynasty is definitely his.
I love me some college football. I watch it all the time. I do think college football is flawed, period. But as far as players wise, I'm watching all these guys. Hopefully around Thanksgiving time, I'm gonna bring my cousin on and we're gonna break it down. If he's willing to get on now. I don't know if he's willing to get on. I'm gonna convince him to. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Olave is just a good ass wide receiver. It's just like, man, how could we be taking? I know Treylon Burks, he does some things with Arkansas, but it's like, when I look back, how could we be taking Treylon Burks over Olave? Yeah. But even then, though, it's like, I harken back. It's like, the situation, it matters, bro. The situation definitely matters. I know age and talent. And after the year, we're probably going to break down a lot of rookie stuff. Probably doing a lot of rookie stuff, probably a lot of dynasty stuff. I mean, trust your eyes, fellas.
Yeah, this is a dynasty podcast. I mean, this is a Cruise dynasty podcast, and we're definitely going to break down these dynasty picks when it comes next year. And Olave, the only thing I got to say about Olave, and it's something that never fails in the NFL, is when you watch the TV and you watch with your two eye sockets and your optical lenses, is when he catches the ball, he's got separation every time. For some reason, he gets open. It doesn't matter what quarterback is at the helm. That's what you want. If a dude looks like he's open all the time, that's what you want.
Yeah, and the reason why he's in New Orleans, and I always say situation matters. This guy's having success with Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton. They don't have a stable quarterback situation at all. Just imagine if they stable it up and sure it up a little bit. Chris Olave to the moon. And I'm sitting here talking about guys with more talent like Treylon Burks, Drake London, Garrett Wilson. We don't know what the hell those franchises are going to do. So Drake London, I would have picked him at the 103. He might not ever pan out with the Falcons. They might just run the ball for the next 10 years for all we know. So,
yeah, if Arthur Smith stays there, I think Arthur Blank. And I think that in one of I listened to one of the previous episodes, I was like, I think I called the head coach Arthur Blank because I think Arthur hired Arthur because he had the same first name.
I'm going to be honest. Arthur Blank is the most overrated owner of all time, man. Seriously, just The Falcons
Have you
just
been
eat
to
me up, man. They make me so damn mad, man.
Have you been to Mercedes Benz?
Never been though. Never been. I'm gonna go
It's
this year. I got to.
it's absolutely beautiful, but as soon as you walk out, man, you're gonna give about $50 million away to um, bums on the street wanting your money.
Right. Well, that's Atlanta for you. So
If
that's
anybody,
the
hey, if we get massive, bro, we want to paint a good picture of Atlanta, and that's a perfect picture. Beautiful stadium,
right.
the city itself,
Shoot.
it's questionable.
And that's Atlanta for you. That's that Moneybag Joe's economy for you and Stacey Abrams.
Well,
But that's all
don't even get
that.
in the pot.
I,
Don't
I
don't do the politics.
I'm telling you, man. I just want to put this podcast on other platforms and be like, "Yo, this ain't your liberal podcast." Because crap, I'm telling you, I'm on Twitter, man. I'm telling you, bro. These dudes are woke as fuck. But you ain't getting that from me and Crap. I'm just saying that right now.
Hey,
And you might get it from Dunk, but you ain't getting it from me.
you ain't getting it from me either. This is I ain't getting into politics at all, but for
Me
what Matt stands
neither.
for, work hard and make your money. Don't give your money to people who ain't working. That's what all I gotta say.
Right. Honestly, fellas, we're a bunch of conservatives over
Fantasy
here.
football
But
podcast,
it is what
people.
it is. Fantasy football is what we stand for most. But if you want to listen to the people that have the values of you, me and Kraft are you guys. So and poor man P Miller, he's poor, so he can relate.
the the Repu- the Republican fantasy footballers
Yep.
Cruise Dynasty podcast.
Might go put
Here
this
we go.
thing instead of YouTube. I might go put it on Rumble or something, man, for y'all out there, man, for y'all out there. Hell, I might do it for real though, Kraft. They think I'm playing, but for real, Kraft. Before we wrap up these wide receivers, we got any sleepers, people that ain't out in there yet that maybe you want to look for, redraft, dynasty, anybody? I mean, I hadn't really thought about it too much. I've just been going through the rankings, but you know. Is there anybody out there that you just want to be like, yo, you need to be on the lookout for this guy? Because I got
Yeah.
one.
Okay. Go ahead and give us your one since he's on the top of your head brain.
Okay, look, in the what you call, and I'm not saying this is like a big time play or anything like that, or you know what I'm saying. Like this is a sleeper. He could be a solid flex play for you maybe in the future, but like we talked about it earlier, the Baltimore Ravens traded Marquise Brown. They didn't really replace it with anybody. I know they drafted Rashad Bateman in like I want to say the second round, maybe 2 years ago, or Rashad Bateman's in his second year. I want to give a shout out to Devin Duvernay. This dude right here has gotten double digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8 weeks, or 5 out of 8 weeks, 6 out of 8 weeks, something like. I'm drunk, so my vision's blurry. Devin Duvernay scores special teams. Duvernay. Tell me I'm wrong. This guy right here could be a good play from here on out. Rashad Bateman's been banged up. We don't know if Rashad Bateman's ever going to pan out like someone like Marquise Brown did with Lamar, and we don't know what Baltimore's going to do. It's obviously a Mark Andrews kind of offense. Mark Andrews has been banged up. I like me some Duvernay. Right now, this year, as we speak, he's number 22 in season averages. I don't know where he's at in the season lead just because I switched filters. But I just want to say shout out to Duvernay. He's been as solid as any of these guys out there. So I think he might be. And I'm not sitting here and being like, yo, I want him as my wide receiver too. Hell nah. He's really a borderline flex play. But I'm just saying, let's just take a look at him. Give him another year with Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar will get paid after this year. Let's just see what happens with Duvernay. What you think, Kraft?
Yeah, Rashad Bateman obviously looks like he's not going to be on the field because he re-aggravated the foot injury he was already out with, so I expect him to be out. The Ravens get to play one more week and then are on a bye week. So maybe Bateman comes back after the bye. But Duvernay for sure next week is a great play. And I really like it. I keep telling people, I like, don't start Duvernay, don't start Duvernay, and every week I'm like, man, maybe I should have told them to start Duvernay this week.
Right.
But
What
with
you
my
got for me?
wide receiver sleeper, I'm hitting Wandale.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit Wandale. He's the only receiver for the Giants who are 6-1 this year. And Matt, I'm just going to ahead and give you the floor because you said in the last episode, we said if the Giants win this week, you're going to come back next week and say that they still ain't shit. So go ahead. Floor is
Man,
yours.
they ain't shit. But hold on, man. This is the thing, man. This is what I gotta give. I gotta give Dabo and them credit because it's like there's definitely you're definitely not going out there making the mistakes to lose the game. So I gotta go out there and give the Giants credit. And I think we said it earlier, they got a pretty easy schedule from here on out. So the Giants are definitely gonna be in play with Philly. Go out there and beat Philly. Hell, if you beat Philly, I'll shut the hell up. Honestly, I probably should already shut the hell up. But I'm with you, Kraft. I mean, the Giants are 5-1. I still look at the Giants and I'm like, damn, look at this team, man. They're rolling out there with Daniel Jones, which I ain't hating on Daniel Jones. I think he's a solid guy, but they don't have no receivers. I think the sleeper is just awesome. I mean, this was a great sleeper. This dude had like 8 targets in the first half. If he can stay on the field, man, Wandale to the moon for real.
Yeah. I like him more in a PPR league than I do a half PPR standard because he's not really averaging a whole bunch of yards per reception. He's, 6 receptions for 50 yards. That's 6.25 yards per reception. That's really not a lot, but he's easing his way back in. He went from 23% of snaps to 69% of snaps just in 1 week. And they just got rid of Kadarius Toney. So
Yep.
I feel like he's going to be a solid flex play from here on out. And, with the Giants, the way we're talking right now, and I really wanted to mention him because they have the easiest wide receiver schedule for the rest of the year. And they play after that last week. I'm telling you, Face ID don't do it right. But you got Seattle, then a bye, then Houston, Detroit, and Dallas, Washington. I mean, they have one of the most favorable schedules for wide receivers for the rest of
Right.
the year. So Wandale, a great flex play for from here on out. I feel like.
Couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more. I mean, I felt like we gave the people a pretty good episode about some wide receivers. A couple days ago, you and Ian broke down these running backs pretty much halfway through the year. So this was a good time to break down these running backs, break down these wide receivers. Hell, maybe we'll break down these quarterbacks for people. I don't really want to do tight ends. Well, you know what? Maybe we should. I don't know. Maybe we should dive deep for the people. I don't know. But we'll
We can
talk.
do tight ends now, man. Travis Kelsey, Mark Andrews. Those are your studs. All the rest of them are ass. All right, tight ends
Kyle
is
Pitts
done.
sucks.
There we
All
go.
right. There.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts sucks.
Kyle
Don't forget
Pitts
about Kyle Pitts
sucks.
sucking.
So yeah.
And another thing about tight ends, George Kittle is on the rise. I feel like
Right.
so.
Agree. He did a lot of blocking at the beginning of the year.
Tight end episode.
And I want to shout out to my brother on that one. He was the one who hit me up with that one. And George Kittle been doing a lot of blocking at the beginning of the year because they've had some O-line problems. So shout out to John. He's been on top of it. So yeah, man. I mean, maybe we'll break down. I feel like we should break down the quarterbacks at least one day. We'll do that one day. So, but yeah, man. Thanks for listening to the podcast. These wide receivers are deep. We did running backs a couple days ago. If we were rambling, sorry. Me and Kraft had some drinks tonight. So, but this was fun. This was one of the funnest episodes I've done in a while. So,
Get over it.
But the thing is, I want to keep recapping the weeks and breaking down the weeks for the people. Like I feel like we give that. We owe that to the people. You know what I'm saying? Let's break it down, recap it. So, but these weekend podcasts right here where we hit on some topics, these are my favorite podcasts to do. So, Kraft, real quick, you got anything to say to the people?
Nah, man, I'm good. I mean, I felt like we done gave the people some info, some great info. information.
Yep.
And I really appreciate everybody for listening. I can't say it enough. Every episode, I'm just gonna tell y'all, the viewers we got, we love y'all. We love you guys, and spread the word. Spread the word.
Yeah, that's all I was about to say. Share with these people, man. I mean, if you like fantasy football, you ain't got to listen to the mainstream guys. Listen to just a couple guys just like y'all, because that's just what we do. We just play fantasy football. It is what it is. But shoot, man, that's about it, man. I'm going to say we out.
Peace.